Alright, let's have some fun. Most fun you can possibly have on the low functioning end of the spectrum. Street Fighter Alfonso 3. This one's not an official numeric sequel, but rather it's a spin-off, you see. Just like how The Simpsons was a spin-off of the Tracy Ullman Show. They were making Street Fighter within Street Fighter. Squeeze every last dollar out of John Q. Consumer. So I'd say this is a nice respectable amount of characters for PS1, wouldn't you agree? Nothing overly crazy, but respectable. Yes, I'm aware that the text is cut off. I didn't crop it wrong before you start typing your nasty, hateful, and probably racist comments at me about how I cropped it wrong. No, I didn't do that. I ain't do that shit. The game's just like that, you see. You see, the video game, it's cropped wrong, you see. What the hell was... Oh, that was just the wind. Fuck, the wind shook the house and I didn't know what was going on there for a second. So yeah, you've got different isms you can pick from. What is this, the internet? All these isms. Anyway, and each one, get it, cause isms. Fuck, yeah, each one has different specials you can do. So they've got like an easy mode, a medium mode, and then like a sweat mode for people like Maximilian Dude, where it's not enough to just do combos. You have to press 50 buttons and then like bite down on the controller with your teeth and say the Star Spangled Banner backwards just to do a Hadouken or something. That's what the last ism is for. It's extra complicated. For viewers like you. It's very accommodating that Capcom took the time to put in 3 different modes to make the game enjoyable for all ranges of skill. I guess for the more skilled players, you know, you build up a tolerance to fighting games, and past a certain point you can't really enjoy fighting games per se, unless you're doing really elaborate combos just to achieve the same things as everybody else. It's kind of like how people get addicted to porn, and like the stuff that they watch in order to keep up the dopamine loop, they have to keep watching crazier and crazier stuff, or else they can't climax. I guess hardcore fighting people are like that as well. Like Maximilian Dude can't properly enjoy a fighting game just by playing it normally. He has to do like a frame perfect parry with a Wii remote shoved up his ass in order to get the same level of dopamine that you or I would get by playing this. Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, I've definitely heard that, just like how I heard Rob Schneider likes to pick up Mexicans from in front of Home Depot and have them choke him in... What the fuck was that? Okay, that's the second time today the wind scared me. First time it shook the house, this time it went ooh! God himself is trying to stop this episode from getting made. But, yeah, I lost my train of thought. Well, whatever I was gonna say, it must not have been that important. It's not like I secretly knew the cure for cancer this whole time and I was gonna use this particular episode as my venue to tell the world about it. No, this is our big break. I turned on this video with the expectation that I was gonna hear the cure for cancer, and I could tell it to the world, but he lost it from his mind. That information is forever gone. How are we gonna pay for Uncle Harvey's operation now? How are we gonna do that, huh? Anywho, so, that character that we fought in the last round, Rainbow Mika, I do believe this game was the first appearance of that character. Rainbow Mika's something of a mainstay now, but this game, this is where it all began. So the next time you fire up Street Fighter 6 and you want to oogle, let's just stop there. Anyway, just remember that this is where it all began. Any hoodles, so lately I've been getting a lot of those Criterion Closet videos in YouTube recommended. They'll have famous movie people and they'll have them pick out their favorite Blu-rays from the Criterion Collection and give some cinema history. As Nathan Lane says, it's the most famous closet since Liberace. Anyway, just all the different people they choose to film there. I was imagining, what if they just filmed like a Redditor, like a cheese puff Redditor? Like, what would his opinions on movies be? I would imagine he'd wiggle his fingers in the air and say, I'm something of a media enthusiast, and then he'd start looking through the movies, and you could kind of see disappointment wash over his face, and he'd say, do you guys have some video games in here too? No, just movies? Just movies? Well, okay. He'd probably spend a long time looking for either Star Wars or the Mario movie or something like that. He'd probably get cheese puff stains on the spines of the Blu-rays. Wouldn't that be something? Maybe he'd complain about how hard it was to take a bike to get there. He'd say, yeah, a guy almost hit me on my bike on the way over here. I looked him straight in the eye and I said, well, that just happened. The jokes practically write themselves. Do you think there are any Criterion-level movies that would appeal to the average Redditor? I feel like he'd mostly just watch adult man-baby stuff, although I guess I kinda already made that point. Wouldn't be a fan of anything foreign, that's for sure. Unless it was anime or something, that would be the only acceptable foreign media for him. That's something nice and approachable. Me personally, I'm on something of a Criterion movie binge as of late. A couple weeks ago I saw Hausu. I'm butchering the Japanese pronunciation, but next up I want to see Pan's Labyrinth and many others. But just kind of the issue I've noticed with these sort of art house films is you can't really just watch these whenever. A lot of these you have to be in a certain mood before you can watch them. You can't just casually watch Come and See on a Wednesday. You have to be mentally braced for the movie, And then the other issue is, the collection spans all the way back basically to the beginning of film. And a lot of older movies, I guess, are just paced differently compared to what we're used to. To the point where I'd say pretty much anything older than 1970 is a bit difficult to watch just because movies were, like I said, paced differently back then. That's why I'm a bit reluctant to watch 8½, because I know it's going to be one of those old movies where, it's very difficult for modern audiences to sit through it. I've tried to do that with a few older movies, like I've seen 2001: A Space Odyssey, I've seen Citizen Kane, and both of those, it's I recognize that these are well-made movies, but there needs to be more to it to hold my attention, I'm not some ADD zoomer who can't sit for more than 5 minutes, but even then I have my limits of what I can watch without getting bored. With 2001: A Space Odyssey, all of the best stuff was really shoved into the last third of the movie. Seemed like the first 2/3 were just showing off the sets and just all the special effects, and wasn't until towards the end where they actually had a conflict and something I could follow as an audience. When Hale started going rogue. And then they had the black hole scene, of course, and, audiences are kind of divided on that. But personally, I really like the black hole scene. I like the trick the director did when they start cutting back and forth to, the black hole and the astronaut reacting to it. At first they show, just footage of him reacting to it, but then they change it up and they just switch to stilled images of his terrified face reacting to it. And, oh, that is such a good technique. Stanley Kubrick knows his stuff. Yes, indeedy. So, I guess, keeping with the golden rule of fighting games, the third level, when I'm always fighting the AI, always seems to be the tipping point where I can no longer do it, and this game is no different. But at a minimum, we can at least look at a different character. If you saw his intro there, he's not actually Japanese despite the way that he's dressed. He's just a dirty, filthy weeb. A dirty, smelly, nasty, rotten, foul. Whoopsie doodles. My analog controls got turned off, so I had to press the home button to turn them back on, and unbeknownst to me, that pulled up the Steam page. I clearly do not know how to do any of the combos with this character. For shame. What's his equivalent to a Hadouken? I don't even know.